Hi everyone, welcome to Griglish Outdoors. Today we are looking at the Fiskars IsoCore Pro Builder's Axe. So stick around. So I bought the Fiskars X10 axe quite some time ago and I've been very impressed with it. However, sometimes when I'm out I also want a hammer. Although this axe does have a flat head at the back where I suppose you could hammer things in, it's not really meant for that. Which is why when I saw the Fiskars Pro IsoCore mallet or axe, I thought it looked very interesting and could potentially be useful for me. Anyway, let's take a closer look. So there is a Fiskars Pro IsoCore. Some class it as a builder's mallet, some class it as a axe. It does come with this nylon cover which just pops off, and that reveals this nice axe blade, which when you look at the shape of it from above almost looks a little bit like a splitting axe. But it does come on the other side with a very functional hammer or mallet. Like with all Fiskars axes, it comes with a polymer handle. This time though, the axe head is screwed onto the handle rather than being moulded into it. And I thought it looked like a very nice, useful tool. Anyway, let's get some facts and figures about this. So the Fiskars Pro IsoCore hammer mallet axe, as I said before, it comes with a nylon sheath. The length is 36 centimeters or 14 inches. The head weighs 1.1 kilograms and the total weight is 1.6 kilograms. It has a soft grip which prevents slipping out of your hand. The axes themselves are made in Finland. They state it's ideal for splitting small logs and kindling, and because of the unique IsoCore shock control system, it minimizes the strain on your body by reducing impact shock and vibration by 50% compared to wooden handles. It has a riveted head which will not slide down or snap off even when swinging at maximum force. The forged heat treated steel head is finished with a rust resistant coating, although as you see over time that will flake off. Right, there's a few facts and figures, but does it work very well? Let's give it a try. So as you see, great for splitting, but also, I'm not sure you can see that protective coating does quickly come off when you're using it. So over time, you will have to maintain it with some blade oils to prevent it from rusting. So how about smaller work, like potentially making stakes and then using that head to hammer them in? There we have a rough stake. Now how about hammering it in? So that worked pretty well. Whew. It is hot today, about 35 degrees, so makes this work a little bit harder than normal. Anyway, that what you saw is basically one of the main reasons I wanted this. The fact it's sharp enough and the axe is heavy enough to split logs easier than my other Fiskars axe, and still that heavier axe head is still manageable enough to make things like stakes. Then of course you've got a perfect hammer on the back to hammer those stakes in. So the next two tasks are, what's it like hammering in things like nails or potentially other wedges, and what's it like for more detailed things like potentially carving. So I've got this large log here. I've got myself a little basic wedge. Let's see if we can open this up and use the hammer side in this wedge to split this further. So that's split pretty good. Let's now see if this wedge will help me open her up a bit more. The wedge definitely helps split it. One more go with the axe. So that worked really well using the hammer side and this basic little homemade wedge. Makes life easier when you're splitting larger logs. Now I have this piece of wood here. Would the Fiskars builder's axe be useful to start carving something, maybe like a spoon out of this? Would I be able to whittle off the edges accurately enough without destroying this piece of wood? Let's give it a go. Well, there we are. I've whittled that piece of wood down into a size where I can then use my knife to finish it off and carve that into a spoon. However, was just doing that with the IsoCore builder's axe easy? No. It's fine when you're chipping off larger pieces of wood, but when you get into the finer parts like carving, the blade really isn't sharp enough or really designed for that sort of thing. Whereas my Fiskars X10 is sharp enough to carve little shavings off there and work this down to a more detailed finish. So if I was in a bushcraft situation, I still think the Fiskars X10 is a better option. But if I'm chopping wood, splitting wood, or need to hammer things into the ground, then the IsoCore builder's axe is a better option. This one, because of the heavy head, is ideally suited for splitting wood and chopping up wood. But because of that heavy head, when you're doing detailed work, it makes it extremely tiring. Whereas this, being a lot lighter and sharper, means you can really take your time and save energy when you are doing finer work. So overall, would I recommend the Fiskars Iso Pro builder's axe mallet thing? Yes, I would, depending on what you have to do. If you're a builder and need to chop up things, hammer things in, then this is ideal. If you're doing only bushcraft and need an axe just for a little bit of chopping and carving, then I'd still go for the X10. I do have a full review of this axe on the channel. I will put a link to that in the description of this video. As far as maintenance goes, as with all axes, you will need to keep sharpening up that blade. However, I've found it to be more difficult to sharpen than my Fiskars X10. I think that's mainly due to the actual grind and the shape of these blades. Yes, you can make this sharp, but not razor sharp like this one. Now let me tell you the price of this thing. You can get this online for around about 40 to 50 euros, but for me, the only option was to get it out of the country, and therefore the delivery was another 20 euros because of the fact it is such a heavy item. Was it worth it? Yes, purely from a splitting wood purpose. This is going to save me so much time over this one. The issue is I might end up bringing both with me, or I might bring this and then just a more of a heavy duty knife for carving and battening. Anyway, that was the Fiskars Pro IsoCore builder's axe. What do you think of this? Is it something you would find useful, taking with you to camp, taking with you when you're building or constructing things out in the wilderness? Let me know in the comment section below. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, much love, see you next time.